and welcome back to another episode of the Real Conversations podcast. I'm your host, Jacob O'Connor. Real Conversations is a podcast for those dedicated to doing hard things and living a meaningful life. Today, I'm joined by Johnathan Weigand. Johnathan is the managing director, is that right?
Yes, Director of Strategic Initiatives at Weigand Sons.
Yeah, Director of Strategic Initiatives at Weigand Sons, which was started by your great-grandfather over 120 years ago, which is just incredible.
It is pretty incredible, an amazing legacy. It started in 1902.
I can't even... To keep something going for that long is impressive in and of itself, and I'm excited to talk about the role that you're playing within that, but I would love to start off by just going back and kind of hearing, how did this come to be? Like everything over the last 123 years, how did that happen?
Well, John Patrick Weigand came from Mount Sterling, Illinois, in a covered wagon to Wichita, Kansas. And he saw Wichita as a boom town. And he didn't even have a driver's license. And he officed on the third floor at an office building in downtown Wichita because he could see the trains and the wagons come in into downtown Wichita, and he would literally go down the stairs and sell real estate on the street.
Just scrappy like that.
I mean, it's just it's amazing. It's a grit that I think a lot of people this day and age don't really understand.
Yeah. Do you feel like, or how do you feel like your family's been able to keep that same mentality?
You know, I think throughout the generations, the company's always been very synonymous with integrity, work ethic. And, one of the things my father, grandfather, and great-grandfather always placed a lot of emphasis on was the integrity of the deal is more important than the deal itself. I feel like that translates to, having a commission or recouping money is not as important as keeping everything above board and maintaining integrity within the organization and throughout the transaction.
Yeah. I mean, that's a long-term play. You can only be around for 120 some years if you're focused on doing something in the future. Like, to sacrifice your integrity just to make a little bit of money is something that'd be a short-term gain.
Short-term. Yeah. I think, especially in a place like Wichita, I feel if you cut corners, it's not going to get you very far.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, growing up, actually, first of all, for those that don't know, because I've got listeners in St. Louis as well and just kind of all across, how would you quantify the size of Weigand Sons to give people an idea of just kind of what has been built into this?
Yeah. So we have a residential, commercial, and auction division currently within the organization, comprised of a little north of 250 associates.
Wow.
So a lot of moving parts. We have 8 offices throughout Kansas and some rural areas. I'm at the headquarters downtown, which we've been in that office space since well before I was born. But we've upgraded several of our facilities since then, and it's again just an amazing legacy that I feel very blessed to be a part of.
Yeah, I can't imagine. I thought I read you guys are the largest real estate company in Kansas. Is that approximately true?
Yep, especially in the private sector.
Yeah.
We are, and certainly the oldest.
Yeah. That's so cool. So I'm curious, I feel like there's a lot of people that see the position you're in and they're like, oh, I would love to be in this situation. Like, what was it like growing up? Because I can imagine you felt just a lot of pressure because your family's been around for so long. You have that reputation to protect, and
of course, and there is. I felt early on in life that there was pressure around that, but my father was always very good at emphasizing follow your passion, and there wasn't a lot of pressure, I'd say, kind of internally within the family,
right,
to kind of live up to the standard that that was set by those that came before me. But I really did. I went out and did my own ventures after college, and I felt like I wanted to come back to my roots here in Wichita, and I grew up between Wichita and Chicago, mostly in Chicago.
Mm,
So, not growing up in Wichita, it was uh, it was a very daunting experience, and I mean that very lightheartedly.
mm,
It was uh, it was it was just great from several different reasons. I mean, all the cliche things that you hear about Wichita, from no traffic, the people. It's just a great place to raise a family.
yeah.
There really is a lot of quality people here, and I when I initially came back to Wichita about 7 years ago, I didn't think I was going to be here long term. It was
Mm,
kind of a 1 year trial, and I just came to love it,
nice.
and real sense of community.
Yeah. What was the Chicago time? Curious.
Uh, I owned and operated a private aviation company.
A private jet company.
I did.
That's incredible.
Yes.
How does that even come about?
So when I lived in New York, I worked with a guy in venture capital finance, and we decided to get in the aviation space, and we started with one plane.
Yeah.
We had a Lear 60 and grew it into a 9 plane fleet. We called it Gold Star Jets, and he's since taken the company in a different direction and is now focused in kind of the credit card processing space.
Yeah.
But it was an interesting ride. There's so many different models in private aviation. You have fractional ownership, charter,
Yeah.
um, different dynamics like that. But we focused and found our niche in the casino market.
Ah.
So our clients weren't just the people who were trying to charter a plane to fly somewhere. Our clients were the casinos.
Yeah.
So they'd fly in high rollers, entertainers, and their entourages, and we would handle all their transportation and concierge needs.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Hey guys, Jacob here. Real quick before we get back to the episode, I just want to take a quick second and say, if you guys are enjoying this episode, please make sure to share the link with a friend. You may have noticed I don't run any ads in the podcast. In fact, I don't make any money off the podcast. It's quite the contrary. Over the past 5 years, I've invested a lot of time, money, and effort into the growth of the show, trying to continually upgrade the equipment, bring on better guests, and just improve the overall quality of the podcast. So if you guys are enjoying this episode, or if you enjoyed previous episodes, please share the link with a friend. Sending it to 1 or 2 people makes a huge difference for me on the back end. As always, I appreciate your guys' support. Let's get back into the episode. How do you even figure out how to do that with no prior experience?
Well, we kind of built the plane on the way up. We were full service. We provided transportation, kind of F&B, and we just, particularly those first 3 years, we just didn't
Yeah.
sleep. We were constantly on demand and on call at all times. But it just took a lot of tenacity, and just having a good business partner means everything.
Yeah.
So we were both very focused on growing the business, and not necessarily taking a lot out of the business at the time. We were, we'd get our annual salary that we pay ourselves, and then we'd be like, we're taking too much, and
Yeah.
put a lot of it back in the business. But that's how we were able to scale it.
Incredible. How old were you when you started that?
I would have been about 27 years old.
Wow.
Yeah,
Do you know who Jesse Itzler is? Does that name ring a bell?
it does, but I don't know how.
Okay, so Jesse Itzler is one of the owners of the Atlantic Hawks. He is married to Sarah Blakely, who's the founder of Spanx.
Okay.
He's got just an incredible life resume. But early in his career, he was like a DJ and helped write like "Go Knicks Go," like the theme song. Did a lot of NBA songs like that. And
Like the jingles?
yeah, the jingles. He did
Yeah.
the jingles.
Okay.
And he ended up selling that company for just a little bit of money. And then he was like, what am I going to do next? He was like 23, 24 years old. And he was like, you know what? I've made a really cool network from like writing these jingles and everything else from that. He managed Run DMC. He had 50 Cent as an intern. And he was like 24, 25 years old. And he said that he wanted to start a private jet company. And so he started one called Marquee Jets. And he eventually sold it to NetJet, which is owned by Warren Buffett.
Correct.
And so the overlap there of like no prior aviation experience, just we're going to figure it out. I love that kind of mentality of like, let's just go for it.
Yep. No, that's really what it takes is going all in.
Yeah.
And you have to do that. And again, I mean, just to kind of highlight, that was always my father's philosophy.
Mhm.
Whatever your passion is, do it 110%,
Yeah.
and surrounding yourself with good people makes all the difference. Who you choose to surround yourself with lets you know who you are.
Yeah, that's 100% true. I mean, how have you been able to get good people around you? Because I'm sure you've ran into a lot of people, and it's easy to just to have a large network, but to have one that's actually refined and people that you actually can count on, and that it's a valuable relationship. How have you been able to build and cultivate that?
Um, I don't know that I've always done it very well, but I think it's a lot of trial and error. I think the more you do it, the more you put yourself out there. I feel like it turns your radar on a
Mhm.
little bit more to um, just certain nuances you look for, and whether it be a business partner or somebody that you choose to be in your inner circle.
Mhm.
Um, and that it really does mean a lot. People that you can trust and confide into, and
Mhm.
who you choose to be your partner in life. And it's character is very important to me. And um, I think a good way to get to see that and absorb that from somebody is on a golf course.
Oh yeah,
Where else can you be with somebody for 4 hours and,
yeah,
see them hit a bad shot? You get to see kind of what their temperament is like.
yeah.
And,
If they're gonna cheat on the score,
if they're going to, move their ball out of the rough
yeah.
into the fairway. So, um, it's not just, golf being always the right compass of character, but I've noticed that you can get a lot of business done on a golf course, and that's a good way to kind of
Yeah.
get some insight into somebody's character. But other than that, just spending time, seeing how they are with their family. Um, you know, I, uh, I keep a pretty tight circle. I like to say that, I've got a lot of acquaintances, but very few friends. Um, and right, wrong, or otherwise, that's what I believe.
I think that's probably the right way to do it. Yeah, I think with the golf thing, you're saying, like, you want something that's gonna open that person up, or, like, maybe they're not
Mhm.
in their right element, their best element, perhaps. We were talking beforehand, one of my favorite things to do is to try and work out with the guests or do ice bath or sauna, like, just something difficult where you're both gonna be uncomfortable, and then when you peel back that kind of protective layer, you can actually see who you're dealing with in that situation.
Absolutely, absolutely. I don't think I do very well in an ice bath.
Hey, I was talking, you've been to Sweat House, haven't you?
I have, yeah. It's one of my favorite places, actually. I'm at about 3 times a week right now.
Seriously?
Yeah,
How do you like it?
I really like it. I have gotten to know the owner a little bit. Our children go to the same school, and
Nice.
when it first came to our market, I really wasn't sure how it was going to take. But I think the way that they've curated it with the infrared sauna, vitamin C shower, cold plunge,
Yeah.
and then I also use it as a vehicle to kind of disconnect.
Mhm.
I listen to a lot of podcasts myself, and being able to do some deep breathing and
Yeah.
listen to something positive is very valuable.
What's been your, strategy when you go in there?
Just deep breathing, trying to quiet the noise in my mind,
Yeah.
and apart from just the physical upside, what it can do for you mentally is pretty remarkable.
Yeah, it's huge. I was talking with, Hunter, who's the owner, uh, working at the restaurant right now, it's a lot of hours. It can get pretty stressful, and, every Friday morning, we do a run club at 6 a.m., and then we get back about 6:45, and he lets me use the ice bath sauna afterwards, and I've told him, like, that 2 hours is what I need every week. Like, it's the best thing that I do to reset myself and to just give myself some space to kind of process, and then I've got so much more energy afterwards. It's so good.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I've noticed that if you cold plunge at night or anytime before you go to bed, it's not the right answer because you're not going to get right to bed. It like just spikes
Oh, yeah. You're
all
you're
your
pretty woken up at
endorphins.
that point.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so after the private jet company, what did you do?
After the private jet company, I moved to Wichita,
Yeah.
and it was a really amazing experience. I didn't have a whole lot of FaceTime with my father growing up. I mean, he was very um, kind of immersed in politics and running the company.
Hmm.
And I mean, it's not that we didn't see each other; it's just I didn't see him on a daily basis.
Hmm.
So it was really special for me being able to move to Wichita and have that time with him. And literally, I got to see him every day, and we'd have lunch, dinner, 3, 4 times a week.
Yeah.
So really got to kind of understand kind of what made him tick and kind of how he thought about life. He would always tell me these gray hairs have wisdom, and
I like that.
and they sure did. I mean, just I was blessed enough to be able to ask him a lot of questions. How did he uh, choose his partners? What were some of the positive, poignant moments of his life? What
Mhm.
were some of the mistakes he made? What would he have done differently? And that feedback is invaluable.
Yeah, I can't even imagine, uh, when you can spend that much time with someone like that. I mean, I never got to meet your father, and I've only read about him. Like, if you were to describe him to someone who didn't know him, how would you describe him?
Oh man, he was just the consummate gentleman.
Mhm.
Um, I think he slept in a 3-piece suit. He was always just dressed to the nines, and he just really cared about people. Um, he was such a dynamic man. He had so much love, and he did it with authenticity.
Mhm.
He didn't need to pretend to care about. I mean, he treated you know, the wait staff the same way he'd treat a Fortune 500 CEO, and he did it again authentically because
Yeah.
that's who he was, and he was a lot of people didn't know that he was a very spiritual guy as well,
Really?
and and I think that's really meaningful, believing in something greater than yourself and being able to uh, pray to a higher power or God, whatever that looks like for various different people. But yeah, he was amazing, and unfortunately, I lost him to cancer November of 2023, which was it was a tough year, um, and I miss him every day.
Yeah. I can't even imagine. He sounds just like an incredible man. Um, I do like that spiritual area that you mentioned because, yeah, it's humbling to think there's something greater than yourself. And I think that
Absolutely,
that's important in, like, putting yourself in your place because you can kinda get on a high horse and feel like you've got life figured out, but I think that's a refreshing thought to have.
absolutely. Yeah, whenever you think you have life figured out, just sit back and it'll punch you in the nose.
Yeah, that's 100% true.
Yeah.
I'm curious, so there's a verse that I like. It says, "To whom much is given, much will be required." Have you ever considered that with your own life?
Absolutely. I believe that coming from a place of gratitude every day
Mhm.
uh, is such an essential a part of how the universe reacts to you, and just your overall mentality, your mood. If you can start the day being grateful for whatever it is, having a roof over your head, having clean water,
Mhm.
having great friends, a great partner, a great family. It just changes everything
Yeah.
because, I mean, like everybody else, we have good days, bad days, and everything in between. But, coming from a place of gratitude, it just enhances every element and layer of our lives, whether you're having an up or down.
Yeah. You can always focus on the positives. That's what I like about gratitude.
Absolutely. And having a positive attitude and surrounding yourself with positive people who, don't talk about other people, but they talk about ideas and investing. And
Yeah.
it just, I feel that I am a little bit more mindful of the people that I choose to surround myself with in that regard because sometimes that can really take away your energy
Oh, yeah.
when you're around that negative attitude and people that are just constantly doom and gloom.
Yeah.
It kind of rubs off, right? So I think that's a really important facet of life, is to surround yourself with people that inspire you
Yeah.
and make you feel energized and want to grow.
Yeah, some people could be such an energy drain, and I mean, that's hard because when you're trying to do anything meaningful in your life, it's probably gonna be difficult. It's gonna be difficult, then you need to put your best foot forward, and I would much rather be with people that just see opportunity and solutions than the people that are just every time you're with them, there's just something wrong, something's going on.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I'm curious here, whenever you went back to Wichita to join the family business, like, you're coming out of the world of private jets and you were venture capital finance in New York, like, that seems like quite an adjustment. I'm sure it's great to be back with family, but, like, take us back to those early days. What was it like making that career adjustment?
It was tough. I kind of wanted to go out into the world and figure it out. I When I was in New York, there was certainly times where I felt like there was no possible way I could work any harder than I was working. And then, as you do that, life does get easier, though. I mean, I'm sure we've all heard that cliche uh, term, the harder you work, the luckier you get.
Yeah, yeah.
And New York was it was a very interesting time of life for me. I wouldn't want to live there now, having kids and a family, but being 21 to 25 years old, it was a great time. A great time in my life. That city is just electric.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard it's got really good energy.
Yep, and they say if you can make it in New York, you can make it anywhere.
Yeah. I've got a buddy that's an investment banker, for I think JP Morgan out there. We graduated the same year,
Okay.
but I keep up with them and it's just, you're so much ahead of everything that's happening. Like, I love the Midwest, but I just feel like there's just a different energy about the East Coast and specifically New York where you're just in it.
Yes, yes, and I haven't been back to New York post-COVID,
Mhm.
but I understand it's changed a lot. I think
Mhm.
certainly the office market, shifting over to like the real estate sector. Um, a lot of people were able to figure out how to have a congruent productivity level while officing from home,
Mhm.
rather than having to take a train or go into an office every day.
Yeah.
So I just think the business model has shifted for a lot of companies, which
Yeah.
isn't just isolated to New York. It's all over the country.
Yeah, that's been an interesting thing because, like, I feel like you miss out on collaboration. I mean, I know there's wasted time in the office and it's convenient to be at home, but I just feel like there's something about being around other people where it's like you can spark these ideas or you can get energy off each other. And it's like, when I see how hard someone next to me is working, that makes me want to work harder. And I don't know if I can do that so well from home.
Absolutely. No, COVID was torture for me,
Yeah.
um, and also, that's part of the reason that I've really gravitated and I really enjoy real estate, because
Yeah.
you're not behind a desk all the time,
Hmm.
and you're constantly, on the go, making connections, on showings, listing appointments, and I've also pivoted a little bit more into development and investment.
Yeah.
So, kind of getting into this new facet of the business, which a lot of people say they're in the real estate business, but being a developer and investor is almost like a separate profession.
Right.
And but I'm lucky enough that I've got some really good local mentors that have given me some wonderful guidance on how not to stub my toe. I mean, not that I don't stub my toe, because I do, but
Right.
just kind of circumvent some of those issues that come up.
Yeah. What has been the progression of, like, the different areas you worked in since you've been back to the business?
It's honestly been all encompassing. The one segment of the industry that I never really gravitated towards was residential.
Hmm.
And there's nothing wrong with residential real estate. I mean, it's a very important, imperative part of our whole business. But I just knew right when I came back, I was like, commercial real estate really interests me, because every day is different. There's so many different asset classes of real estate, within a commercial division. You've got industrial, you've got retail, you've got agricultural, you've got office, multifamily. So, you could work in commercial real estate, and that could mean a whole gamut of different
Right.
things. So, I there's a lot of wisdom in our office, and I've been able to get some face time with a lot of the greats that came before me,
Yeah.
and they've been kind enough to let me spend some time and share that wisdom with me. So, um, just kind of picking some of those pieces from um, market leaders in different segments of the business has been really valuable.
Yeah. Is that something that inspires you thinking about the generations of your family that have done this before you?
Absolutely. And it's ebbed and flowed and morphed a lot over time. I can tell you, I know that when my dad graduated from Notre Dame, he went to the army and then moved back to Wichita, and he was selling residential real estate. And his father, Nestor Senior, uh, put a phone book on his desk and said, "Start dialing." And
Oh, I
that
love
was
it.
his introduction to the company. So, um, certainly the company's grown since then. So
Mhm.
that was radically different than my entry, but it certainly kind of just shows you the growing pains and
Yeah.
um, that generational progression. I think living through the depression, there was a different mentality around work ethic, and when you have to worry about putting food on the table and keeping the lights on,
Mhm.
you really get a an accentuated appreciation for um, how hard you work and what that entails.
It's perspective.
Perspective.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love doing these types of podcasts. I've done a handful of episodes with people from multi-generational family businesses. You're actually the second one from Kansas that's been around for over 100 years that I've done.
Oh wow.
The first one was Bank at the Plains, Cooper Clausen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I know Cooper.
yeah, Cooper's a great guy, really good mentor of John and mine. So I enjoyed doing that with him as well. But the cool part about it, in my opinion, is like a lot of my listeners are young. I'm 23 years old, so they're about my age, and like John and I are trying to build something right now with what we're doing with the restaurant and just kind of the grandiose plans that we have for the future. And it's like, this is stage one, brick one. We're at ground zero right now, and no one knows what the future holds. And I think that's what a lot of my listeners are feeling, but they have an aspiration to build something, and to see something that's lasted through multiple generations, multiple different and difficult cycles. It's just super cool to be able to go back and to talk to someone who's down that progression downstream in that family generation and hear how they've been through it and what they've learned and seen. And I just love getting the opportunity to do that.
Yeah. Well, very grateful that you've had me on today.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm curious, like, what is it that keeps you motivated? Like, you arguably could probably live an easier life than you do, but you continue to push through and to find ways to keep yourself motivated. Like, what is that driving force?
I don't do well standing still. um, and I enjoy what I do. I truly do enjoy helping people and solving problems
Hmm.
and just being a lifetime learner. And I feel like as we talked about earlier in the conversation, um, there's always a opportunity to learn something new, no matter how well versed or uh, well you understand any specific topic or situation or deal structure. I feel like there's always an opportunity to absorb a new experience, meet someone that has a story that will be impactful
Hmm.
and just grow. I believe that's what life's all about, and and if you're not, um, you know, in the workforce and you are boots on the ground and arguably sometimes in the trenches, you can be stagnant,
Right.
and that is definitely not a comfort zone for me.
Yeah, 100%. I'm curious, how do you structure your life to keep it interesting, to keep yourself moving in that progress?
I think goal setting
Hmm.
is very important. Um, I try at the end of every year to write down 50 goals
Oh, wow.
and reflect on those goals. You know, daily, weekly, monthly, and you know, oftentimes you don't accomplish all 50, but I think that's the point, because you're constantly stretching. You're constantly trying to push yourself to new heights. And if you write down 50 goals that you want to accomplish in 1 year, maybe you only get 25 of them done,
Right.
but that can always auto populate into the next year.
Hmm.
Um, and then you look at the end of the year when you're taking your personal inventory, and um, it's pretty satisfying,
Yeah.
looking and be like, wow, like I was here and I accomplished that and I accomplished that. And then, and then, what it takes to get to those goals, and refining what steps do I need to be,
Hmm.
or excuse me, what steps do I need to take to become the person who accomplished this, and sharpen your pencil. And, whether it's physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, um, it's a it's a really positive thing.
I love that. There's a quote that I really like, and it's something along the lines of set the goal not for what it will mean if you achieve it, but for who you'll become in the process.
Absolutely.
I really think that that's the important part, is like, even if you miss it, even if you get 80% of the way there, you're better off than you were beforehand, and you will have changed because of it.
And it's a learning experience.
Right.
And and I've heard this before in different different ways, and it's been articulated in different quotes, but you know, failing or falling, there's nothing wrong with that as long as you can do it failing or falling forward.
Yeah.
And
100%.
not giving up, being a person who exhibits tenacity, and doing it with love, taking your time, um, and enjoying that journey.
Yeah.
It's cliche. It's not about the journey, or excuse me, it's not about the destination. It's about the journey. But those words are so true, because that's the evolution of life,
Yeah.
and that's how we all grow.
Yeah. 100%. And it's one of those things where, like, you can be so focused on the goal that, like, you can forget the bigger picture. So I'm curious, like, when things get stressful or difficult, like, how do you personally like to decompress?
Uh, you know, um, I think I would probably have to lean on um, probably the spiritual element of my life. I feel like uh, you know, praying to God, going to church, writing, reading, um, working out,
Mm.
um, being able to talk to people that you trust, that can provide you with candid and real feedback, that there's no agenda with.
Yeah.
Um, Again, we keep kind of circling back to this topic, but you know, tapping into your inner circle, and leaning on people, and being able to ask for help if you're struggling.
Yeah.
That's okay.
It's a difficult thing.
It is difficult, but it's humbling.
It is definitely humbling. Uh, Working out, what do you like to do? What kind of workouts do you like to do?
Well, I'm all over the gamut on that. I have a few gym memberships, and I'm not as well regimented as I have been in the past, but lifting weights. I really enjoy playing tennis
Oh,
as
yeah.
well. My son actually got me into it about 4 years ago, which is a great cardio workout.
Yeah, it is.
So I enjoy that, but um, it's amazing what a good physical workout can do for you, and just sweating, and the endorphins. I mean, there's so much science behind
Mhm.
what cardio and just working out does to your brain, and everything else in your body. I think it's a important um, really important element of your daily life.
Yeah, and I think it creates confidence too. It's like, we talk about having to show up in difficult situations and try and be a leader and all that type of stuff, but at the end of the day, like, when you're not feeling confident, or you're feeling like not in the best position to operate in that manner, like, when you push yourself at something hard like working out, and you put yourself through a hard workout and you get done, the sweat's dripping, you're shaking, you're tired. It's like, okay, if I can handle that, I can definitely step back into whatever else I was doing, and I can put more forward, and I can do better.
Absolutely. And that's the goal, right? We try to do and get better every day, even
Yeah.
if you just move the needle a little bit.
Yeah. Yes, sir. I'm curious, do you have any rules or kind of philosophies that you're trying to implement into your life for how you live it?
Do good and avoid evil. No, no, no. I um I really think placing a high emphasis on family and values. Another principle, kind of circling back to my father, just trying to leave every situation you're in just a little bit better
Mhm.
than you found it. Um, is a daily goal of mine.
Yeah.
Not that I always accomplish it in the most viable way, but certainly something I strive to do. Um, whether that be a business deal, whether it be an interaction with um, somebody that I encounter on a daily basis, just trying to maintain a positive outlook and um, I think it's a game changer if you can try to do that because everything in your life seems to flow differently.
Yeah. It's those little small things that eventually compound, like that feeling of progress, just making something a little bit better, just straightening up the table a little bit, or just putting the dirty clothes away, or finishing the deal in an extra 10 minutes. Like those things add up. And that momentum is really something that personally I find quite addicting.
Absolutely. Yeah, exactly. It's a ripple effect.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. So I'm curious, like as you look out over the next 5, 10 years at both your life in a personal manner, but also a business manner, like what are you aiming at? What are you trying to build in your life?
I'd say on the personal side, I've got two sons, Jr. who's 11 and Nathaniel who's 7. Just being a fixture in both of their lives and somebody for them to
Mm.
look up to. And I've got a wonderful partner that I got together with a year and a half ago who moved to Wichita, Kansas from Denver, Colorado, which is quite the jump.
Yeah,
Um, but she's been an amazing person and um, you know, we've had talks of kind of solidifying that, making it more official. So
exciting.
it is exciting. And I think on the business side, continuing to grow and working with some very seasoned developers, investors. Um, it's wonderful too because your business overlaps with your friendship. I hear oftentimes people say don't mix business and friendship, and
Mhm.
I don't necessarily agree with that because if you're aligned with somebody who's your friend and you guys share common philosophies on how you want to conduct yourself or take care of a situation when it gets sticky, then they'd be a really good partner
Right.
because there's not a lot of conversation, especially if you're trying to stay on the high road and do everything above board. So, I've got a few projects I'm working on outside of Wichita on the investment side of things, and just continuing to add value to JP Weigand and Sons, our family company, to the best of my ability. We have a great leadership team, and I serve on their board of directors in conjunction with my two older brothers, and being able to take this legacy and continue it on for another 123 years.
I love that. 246 years in the making.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I won't be here for that, but
Yeah. If you keep doing ice bath sauna, you got a chance.
yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I have just a couple quick questions for you.
Sure.
Earlier, you mentioned that you listen to podcasts when you're in the ice bath and sauna. What do you like to listen to?
Um, Really, Joe Rogan's obviously
Yeah.
a popular favorite. Jim Quick
Oh,
is,
yeah.
do you know Jim
I know
Quick?
Jim. Yeah.
Yeah, he's an amazing guy. Actually, I've had the pleasure to have lunch with him a few times out in
Seriously.
Los Angeles.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah, he's an amazing guy and always just kind of an inspiration. He's those you don't know, he's kind of a brain coach and just kind of teaches you to activate certain levels of your being. mean, it's all encompassing from physical, spiritual to the way that we retain information and just kind of how to expedite certain things that people consider to be tough in life. So he's a personal favorite of mine. Um, of course, Tony Robbins,
Yeah.
wonderful, very positive. Always got something inspiring to say. And there's several others I'd have to go through. I've got about 6 or 7 that I play in rotation.
That's a good rotation.
Yeah, Jordan Peterson
Oh, yeah.
is also another one that is really amazing. In fact, I got to meet him when he was in Wichita.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, he came to the Orpheum.
I am so jealous.
Yeah, he was a wonderful guy, wonderful speaker, great perspective on life and politics, and so he's a constant inspiration for me personally.
He's so well thought out. Like, he's articulate, and it's incredible.
I've never seen that guy get stumped.
No.
He just the way his brain just activates.
Yeah.
And he's amazing.
Yeah. I was living in Orlando, Florida a year ago, where the franchise headquartered while we were doing our training for the build out of the restaurant. And he went down there and did one of his lectures. And so I attended and sat in the nosebleeds. And it was the most incredible hour and a half, 2 hours ever. He doesn't prep for it. He comes with the prompt, and he just kind of says, I'm going to figure this out and work through it in real time so you guys can see like how I process things.
Yeah.
And it was incredible.
Yeah. Oh, he's great. He just came out with a new book, actually. It's called He Who Wrestles with God.
Yes, sir. I'm about 50 pages into it.
Okay,
it's dense.
good. Yeah.
It's so dense, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good book, though.
Well, you're ahead of me. I haven't started it yet.
It's daunting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
Okay, Johnathan, if people want to reach out, connect, learn more, where can they find you?
You know, I'm down at 150 North Market Street. Not every day, but I'm easily accessible there. My email is jweigand@weigand.com. I love taking meetings, love talking to people, love collaborating on the real estate side or otherwise. Always looking for investment opportunities or ways to help local businesses and otherwise. So I'm pretty accessible. Just reach out anytime.
Awesome. And you can find me on Instagram at Jacob O'Connor. The podcast is at Real Period Conversations. If you guys enjoyed this episode, please make sure to share it with a friend. Johnathan, my last question for you.
Sure.
Looking back at this really cool journey you've been on, what advice would you offer to your 23-year-old self?
My 23-year-old self, I think going with your gut is a real crucial part of life. And, I wish I would have done that more in my adolescent years. And I think that just keeping a positive attitude and surrounding yourself with the right people can really make or break your experience in life. Who you choose to surround yourself with really does predicate the outcome of your life. And I would, I not that I haven't done that in earlier years, but if you have somebody around you that you're essentially kind of carrying dead weight, it can contaminate your life.
Yeah.
And as to a detriment. So I guess if I was to talk to my 23-year-old self, maybe invest in Bitcoin and Tesla. This has really been a pleasure, Jacob. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on, Johnathan.
Absolutely.